Hi, welcome to Eat to the Right. Today I'm going to be showing you how to cook tofu. Now this is an ingredient that's often misunderstood, and people often say, oh yeah, well I tried tofu and I didn't like it. Well, that's often because of the way that it's been prepared. So I'm going to show you how to carefully prepare the tofu because it's like a sponge and it absorbs flavors really easily. So you can actually make a really tasty dish. It's a fabulous ingredient. It's a really good source of protein for people that don't eat animal protein. Lots of calcium. It's got iron in it as well. So it's a really good product to know how to prepare and to include in your weekly menu plans. There's lots of different sorts of tofu, but today I'm going to be showing you how to prepare and cook firm tofu. So in other videos I'll show you other types, but today we're just going to concentrate on firm tofu. And this is what it looks like. So it doesn't look particularly appetizing, but it will do when we've finished. To show you how easily tofu absorbs flavor, I'm actually going to make a marinade. And in the marinade I have the following ingredients. So we've got some ginger, some grated ginger, we've got some crushed garlic, some soy sauce, the zest and juice of a lime, some olive oil, and some almond butter, or you could use peanut butter or even tahini. Okay, so that's a quick tour of the ingredients. So let's get cooking. Okay, so let's begin by preparing the tofu. So there is a little bit of, a few little techniques to make sure that you prepare it correctly. There's quite a lot of water in tofu, so the more water we can actually press out of the tofu before we actually start cooking with it, the more flavour will actually be allowed in. So I'm just going to show you how I press tofu before we make the marinade. So I've got two blocks here. I've got 400 grams of tofu, and I'm going to cut it into slices. I'm probably going to get about 8 slices out of each block. And I'm going to place the tofu. I've got a chopping board here with a tea towel on it, and I'm just going to place the slices on top of the tea towel. Try and get them as even as you can. Okay, so, and the same with the second block. And this bit is important because it will just mean that the end result will be so much more flavourful. So it is worth thinking about this little step in advance, because it makes a big difference to the end result. Okay, so we're just going to place them all on here. And then I'm going to get another tea towel and I'm going to put that on top of the tofu. And then I'm going to use the board that I cut it all on the top of that tea towel, and then I'm going to press it with a nice big book. Okay, so whatever you have, a heavyweight, a big tin or something like that is perfect. And if you have the time, it's advisable to press that for at least half an hour. Okay, I'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, so while the tofu is being pressed, I'm going to prepare the marinade. So just a quick recap of the ingredients and all the recipe. You better find the recipe on my website. So all of the quantities will be there, and it'll also appear on the video as well. So in goes the lovely grated ginger. So it's just coarsely grated. So that's about, I think about 4 centimeters worth of ginger. Lovely, and some crushed garlic. So I crushed it because I want it to be evenly distributed in the marinade. I don't want sort of big chunks of it, so I've decided to crush it. Into that I'm going to add the zest and the juice of a lime, and a little tip to get as much juice as you can out of any citrus fruits is to roll the lime across the palm of your hand like this a few times. And it'll make it a lot softer. Yeah, just even that, just a few times. Look how much more squidgy it is. So that's great, because that means there's going to be more juice in the lime. So that's fantastic. And we're going to use the zest as well. Every chance I get to use the zest in a recipe, I always do, because it's just so full of vitamins. It's fab. So we're going to be using the zest and the juice today. And I've got this, I call this my magic grater. I've got this really fine toothed grater, which is perfect for zesting citrus fruits, because what you don't want is, you don't want any of the pith, you just want the thin skin. So this is a fabulous piece of kit, my microplane. Oh, it smells so lovely. And we're going to put the zest of the whole lime in. If you haven't got a lime and you want to make this recipe, but you've got a lemon, I would suggest that you put the zest of half a lemon in and the juice of half a lemon. If it's not a very juicy one, we'll stick the whole lot in. Okay, look at that, how beautiful that is. That's going to go in straight in there. And the juice. So that's, again, a really beautiful juicy lime. Adds a really nice zing to the marinade, the lime does. Just really lifts it, so it's a fabulous ingredient. Make sure you get all the juice out, that goes straight into the marinade. Okay, put that there. Then I'm going to add in the almond butter. So I've got a good tablespoon of almond butter, which I'm going to pour straight in. And this is obviously quite a thick ingredient. And this is going to be lovely because it's going to really coat the tofu. Make sure I get all of that out. So it's quite an expensive ingredient, so you don't want to waste any. And as I said before, you could use peanut butter here, or hazelnut butter, or tahini. So whatever you have, really. But it's delicious. It's delicious with all of them, actually. I have tried it with all three ingredients. I'm just going to give that a little stir to get it going, because the almond butter is so thick. It just takes you need to sort of dilute it a little bit with the juice of the lime, if you like. So that's already coming along very nicely. Whoa. It gets your taste buds going. And then I'm going to add some soy sauce in, or tamari. Try and get low sodium if you can. And finally, some olive oil. Okay, so that's all the ingredients in. Give that a nice mix together now. Make sure you get all the little bits of lime and garlic. And as the more you stir, you'll see that it starts to make a really nice thick sauce. Just gonna, sounds lovely. And that's really it. That's that simple. And you now have a really lovely marinade ready for your pressed tofu. Okay, I'll see you in a few minutes. Right, so the tofu's been pressing for about half an hour, so let's have a look and see how it's getting on. So the big reveal. Okay, so we can see here on the tea towel just how much water has actually come out of the tofu. So it's quite impressive, really, isn't it? And it'll be the same on the tea towel underneath. So it's always amazes me actually how much water does actually come out of the tofu. So the next stage now is to actually put it into an oven-proof dish and to then cover with the marinade. So that's what we're just going to do now. And really what you want here is you want an even layer, if you can. So this is my favourite dish for making tofu in, and it's a special dish of Simon's mum's, and I always make the tofu in this dish. So I always think of her when I'm making this dish. Never got the chance to make it for her, but I hope she would have approved. Okay, so that fits in there really nicely. So whatever oven-proof dish you've got, and then I'm just going to spoon the marinade over the slices. And it coats really well. So it smells lovely. And the idea really here is that once we've covered the tofu, is you then, if you have time, pop it in the fridge to marinate for a couple of hours. If you haven't got the time, you can actually cook it almost straight away. But it's a great dish. Say you just have a bit of time in the morning to prepare, and you can leave it in the fridge, and then you can cook it when you get home. So as I say, the little bit of the preparation that we've done really does go a long way towards making this dish really lovely. Okay, so I've used all the marinade there. All the slices are nicely covered, and I'm just going to turn each one over so that even underneath it's got a bit of the marinade as well. Because what you don't want it to stick on the bottom when it's in the oven. And then you, so the next step is to put it in the fridge, and then you want to set your oven for 175, and you cook the tofu for 10 minutes, and then give it a little turn, and another 10 minutes, and then it's ready. Okay, so that looks just how I want it to look. I'm really happy with that. So just cover that and pop that in the fridge, and then, as I say, you bake that for in total you bake it for 20 minutes, 10 minutes on each side on 175. Okay, see you in a bit. Right, so the tofu has been cooking for 20 minutes, and it smells absolutely delicious and looks lovely. It's only 20 minutes because you don't want to burn the tofu or dry it out, so it's just the right amount of time for the flavours to be absorbed. To serve with the tofu, I have done some plain boiled rice, and there's a little post on my skills section to learn how to correctly boil rice. I'm also going to serve it with some roasted carrots. I found these wonderful red-skinned carrots, and I've roasted them in the oven, and I want to serve the tofu with that. And again, there's a post on my website to not only give you the recipe but also how I actually roast the carrots. And the final thing is, the final ingredient to, or the final little sort of finishing touch is I've made some spinach pesto because I wanted to bring it together with a little bit of green. And this is really, really easy to make. It's a fabulous sort of seasonal recipe. And again, the recipe's on my website with all the instructions. Okay, so let's begin plating up. So, making the dish. So I'm going to start off with a bed of rice, and this is brown rice. So again, always thinking of the as whole as you can get your ingredients is the best way to go. So this is brown rice. It's got much more fibre in it, and it's not been stripped of the goodness, which is really important. Okay, so a nice bed of brown rice. And then I'm going to add the roasted carrots. And I'm just going to place these on top. And these are really easy to do, and they look really attractive. I've cut them long ways so you can actually see the beauty of the carrot, which I'm always thinking about, as I say, presentation and just really respecting the vegetable, respecting the ingredient, and thinking how it's going to look on the plate, and how appetizing it's going to be. Okay, I'm then going to add the star ingredient, which is the tofu. And there's enough here for at least 4 people, so I'm just going to place this on top of the carrots. Oh, it smells so lovely. The kitchen smells absolutely fabulous of all the lime, the ginger, and all the lovely marinade ingredients. I'm going to add one more slice because I like to do things in odd numbers. There we go. And just to make this dish really pop, I'm going to add some of the spinach pesto. Look how vibrantly green that is. It's fabulous. And I'm just going to dot this along the dot this on top. And I'm not going to be, you know, all fancy. I'm just going to. I want to give the dish a pop of colour, and it also the pesto also adds a little bit of sauce with the rice, so that's quite nice as well. Okay, on there. There we go. So obviously I've only used some of the tofu, and the fabulous thing about this dish is that you can pop it in the fridge when it's cold, and it makes the most delicious sandwich filling the next day. So it's a great one to use for sandwiches, or you could eat all of this cold the next day, sort of like a salad style. So it keeps really well in the fridge for a couple of days. Brilliant. So there we have it, my marinated tofu with ginger and lime, served on a bed of brown rice with roasted carrots, and just finished with a little pop of colour with the spinach pesto. Bon appetit! I hope you've enjoyed my video today. Don't forget to like and subscribe and check out my socials. And if you'd like to look at more, if you'd like more recipes, then please have a look at my website, eattotheright.com, where you'll find loads more recipes, hints and tips, and information about la prochaine.